Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Curse of Oak Island finds another underground cavity. The guys from the Curse of Oak Island found another underground cavity. Once again, this was around the Money Pit area, and it hints that there might be more clues about where the mythical treasure might be hidden. Here is a look at what they found and what it could all mean. New cavity found on Curse of Oak Island. There is a lot of time to waste for the guys on the Curse of Oak Island right now. However, for treasure hunters, no time spent hunting is wasted. This is especially true when new time comes with new discoveries. In this case, it was a new cavity they found near the Money Pit area. The team had to stop their excavating plans for now. They had hired a company to come in and dig down to where they found tunnels and caverns that they previously didn't know about. This gave them the opportunity to finally get underground on the island for the first time. However, the Canadian government put a stop to that for now. That excavating was considered mining, and while this had nothing to do with the mining operation, they had to have permits for it to continue working on this part of the island. Until they can cut through the red tape, they instead had to find other parts of the island to explore. During this time, they ran across something they hadn't seen before. There is a massive cavity at the bottom of the L15 borehole. This is near the Money Pit area and is at around 150 feet. This is also by what could end up as an opening to a chamber or a possible tunnel. As a result, they sent down a sonar detector and found that the cavity is about 30 feet long and just above the bedrock. After talking about it, they decided this couldn't have formed naturally. It is also the same depth as the Chapel Vault, so this could be a huge find. The team also broke ground in Lot 5. With the excavation put on hold, the team did have some good news. They finally acquired the elusive Lot 5, which was previously owned by treasure hunter Robert Young. Because Rick and Marty Lagina did not get along with Young, they never had access before. Now they have the right to explore there. The team also wasted no time. They sent in Gary Drayton, who used his metal detector to find old tools in an area where no building had ever existed before. He also found half of an old coin that was made from copper, with arsenical bronze. They believe this was created before the 16th century. The wind was still that day as the drilling rig hummed with anticipation. Rick and Marty Lagina stood on the edge of the Money Pit, eyes squinting against the harsh sunlight, hearts pulsing with the familiar mix of hope and trepidation that came with every excavation. After years of hunting for the elusive treasure on Oak Island, Nova Scotia, they had grown accustomed to the island's secrets, each revealing itself only to pull them deeper into the mystery. Today, however, felt different. The drilling team had hit something unusual about an hour ago. The distinct sound of the drill penetrating the soft earth had given way to an eerie hollow noise, echoing from beneath the surface. It wasn't the first time they'd encountered a cavity underground, but something about this one felt promising. The team paused, recalibrated, and resumed drilling. As the metal bored deeper into the island, the hollow sound grew louder, and the tension in the air was palpable. The crew knew what was coming next, an underground cavity, hidden away for centuries, waiting to be discovered. But what would it contain? A treasure trove of gold and jewels? Historical artifacts? Or another baffling clue leading further down the rabbit hole? Charles Barkhouse, the team's historian, stood nearby, flipping through his weathered notebook. He was running through old accounts of explorers who had ventured onto the island before them. His fingers traced lines of text as though searching for a forgotten piece of the puzzle that might connect to the new discovery. It's the same depth as the Templar treasure legends mentioned, he muttered under his breath. Rick approached him. You think we're onto something big, Charles? Charles glanced up, his eyes wide. I do, but it's Oak Island. We've learned to temper our excitement. Just as he spoke, the drill made a sharp clank, and the foreman called out, "We've broken through." Everyone froze. The machine powered down, and the once quiet breeze seemed deafening against the stillness. The team gathered around the drill site, waiting for the next step. Marty motioned for the rig operator to drop a camera down the shaft to get a look at the newly exposed cavity. As the camera descended into the dark hole, the monitor flickered to life. The footage revealed a wide, dome-shaped chamber. It was larger than any of them had expected, about 20 feet in diameter. The walls were smooth, as if carved by human hands, and glistened with moisture. It was difficult to tell how far the chamber stretched beneath them. But there, in the middle of the screen, was something that made every heart skip a beat, an object partially buried, metallic and distinctly man-made. "Pause it," Rick shouted. The camera operator froze the image on the screen. "What is that?" Marty asked, leaning closer to the monitor, his brow furrowed in concentration. It looked like a chest, old, iron-bound, and nearly consumed by centuries of sediment. But more intriguing than its potential contents was the strange symbol visible on its lid. It was a series of interlocking circles and triangles, the kind of geometric design that seemed almost out of place in this context. Something about it felt ancient yet deliberate, as though it held the key to a greater mystery. "It's not like anything we found before," Rick said quietly. "But that symbol, I've seen it somewhere." Charles spoke up, his voice tight with urgency. "That symbol is tied to the Rosicrucians. They were rumored to be connected to secret societies and hidden treasures. Some say they had knowledge that predates the Knights Templar." A heavy silence fell over the group as they absorbed the implications. The discovery of a chest tied to such a powerful and secretive order could rewrite everything they thought they knew about Oak Island. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves," Marty cautioned, though his voice betrayed the excitement he felt. "We don't even know what's in there yet." But Rick was already moving, issuing orders to begin the extraction process. The team worked carefully, reinforcing the shaft before lowering equipment to retrieve the chest. Hours felt like days as the operation unfolded, but finally, the chest was lifted from the earth, mud and water dripping from its sides. It was smaller than they had imagined, but its weight suggested something valuable inside. Rick and Marty exchanged a look, the culmination of their years-long quest reflected in their eyes. It was time to open it. The crew gathered around as Rick carefully approached the chest. He crouched beside it, his gloved hands brushing away the dirt and grime. The iron was cold and rusted yet solid. The symbol on the lid seemed to shimmer, as though challenging them to unlock its secrets. With a deep breath, Rick inserted a crowbar into the edge of the chest. The iron hinges creaked, resisting as if guarding the contents within. Finally, with one last heave, the lid cracked open. Inside was no heap of glittering gold or ornate jewels. Instead, nestled carefully within the chest, was a series of rolled parchments, yellowed with age and tied with faded red ribbons. They were fragile, almost too delicate to touch. "What are these?" Marty asked, reaching for one. "Careful," cautioned Charles. "Those could be hundreds of years old." Rick gently unrolled one of the parchments, revealing intricately written text in Latin, alongside detailed diagrams of geometric patterns and star maps. There were instructions, coded, cryptic, and filled with the same strange symbol that had adorned the lid of the chest. "It's a map," Rick said slowly, "but not just of Oak Island. This looks like it's pointing to something bigger." As they pored over the documents, they began to realize that the chest contained more than just historical records. It might be the key to unlocking the island's greatest secret. The diagrams hinted at a network of underground tunnels, leading deeper into the island than anyone had ever dared to go. For a moment, no one spoke. The discovery was monumental. It wasn't the treasure they had expected, but it was something far more valuable, a roadmap to the heart of Oak Island's enigma. The sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows across the excavation site. The team stood together, knowing they were on the brink of something extraordinary. Another underground cavity had been found, but what lay ahead would test everything they thought they knew about Oak Island. The island had given them another clue, but as always, it left them with more questions than answers. And so the curse continued.